And we are now live. Welcome everybody to another episode of Marijuana SA Weekly. We're here tonight with Andy as always, and for the first time on our Zoom show, we have a guest. Welcome to Iris, who has come to share an awesome story with us. Well, some awesome, some not. So Iris, welcome.
Cool, man. Thanks for having me, guys. I really appreciate it.
Oh, it's nice to have you. Slightly more serious episode tonight, Dean.
Yeah, slightly more serious. Iris got in contact with me last week through a mutual friend of ours, Danny, and she said that she wanted to get hold of us to chat about her story and to bring light to an issue which we are very passionate about as well. So I'm super thankful for you reaching out and using our platform to share your story.
Cool, thanks, guys. Yeah, just to give you a little bit of a background, after the legislation passed in September 2018, in November I went through an illegal raid, completely unlawful. The police came into the farm that I was staying at 4:20 in the morning.
They chose that time.
Iconic time, 4:20 in the morning. They surrounded my house. It was the most traumatic thing I kind of went through, and I really had to fight tooth and nail to stand my ground. They completely trashed the house. There was about 20 odd officers.
And it was just you alone, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was just me. They illegally kind of made their way into the house. They flashed briefly a document that said warrant on it. And as soon as I had opened the door to kind of receive it, they came in, turned the house upside down, and found a lot of my personal stash. Eventually, they left 2 hours later, and when leaving, they had asked me for some oil because one of their family members was sick.
Yeah.
And then proceeded to intimidate me and laugh at me and tell me, oh, you're going to smoke liquor now. And I was like, yeah, I fucking am, So I feel like just after that incident, I've been so hell-bent on giving these documents that we'll have access to now available to everybody, because I feel like our rights are getting infringed upon and it's unlawful. What happened with the court case was I tried to lay a charge, and the case got just disappeared. And eventually the police commissioner came, and they came and replaced some of the damage that they did to the farm, to our water tanks, and that's so on and so forth. But in terms of
It proves just how unlawful it was. I mean, intimidation in the middle of the night, you alone there, 20 officers versus one person, not having the proper documentation in place, confiscation of goods, I assume. So, it's everything wrong with it. And it was after the September 2018 ruling. So, you were completely within your rights, and they came in, and just them pointing out, them coming to fix it proves that how wrong they were.
They knew they were in the wrong. And I've recently moved up to the garden route, and for a couple of months I've been inquiring to my big friends that I know that are doing massive grows to figure out what kind of documents are available, what are I know my basic rights, but where are these documents that state our exact rights? And I recently got in touch with the Fields of Green for All. I love the work that they're doing, and they gave me access to a whole bunch of documents which I really, really wanted to touch upon today. And I just feel that as marijuana smokers, growers, it is our duty and responsibility to have these documents and exercise our rights.
Yeah, if I can touch on a point that you made, Iris, it's we have a lot of growers watching this, and guys, if you're sitting at home and you think, oh, it's never going to happen to you, believe me, it happens. We know of people, personally, I've had 7 or 8 guys in blue with guns pointing at me coming through the door, and just similar circumstance. And it's if you're not prepared, it can go horribly wrong, and it shouldn't happen that way. It was also unlawful, no warrant. They just walked away, and they use things like intimidation tactics. They come at 4 a.m. when you know you're gonna be a vulnerable target. They're going to wave things in your face. They're going to say, "Oh, we're going to kick the door down. Let us in. Let us in." They'll swear you're fucked. This is the end. Let us in, and it's scary. You don't know what to do. You don't want to cause a fucking scene. And these guys have their guns drawn. They think you're an absolute terrorist. So yeah, that's one thing. That you've got to be slightly for is make sure you're ready for the intimidation tactics that they're going to pull. They're not going to come at 2 p.m. when when you expect it. So yeah, sorry.
And they trained that way, and I mean, just even for me, I honestly felt like something else overcame me when I went through that raid. I don't know how I fucking made it, because something else stepped in and allowed me to think clearly, and I had clear thoughts. I knew what my rights were. I remembered the warrants, but they still pushed beyond their limits. And even now with traveling, we are within our legal right to travel with a certain amount of dacha on us. And what pisses me off is that people don't really know what's going on, and therefore they won't stand up to the cops, and therefore we keep receiving this kind of injustice in our growing community, and it needs to stop.
No, I 100% agree.
I think it's super important to continue to have this conversation, because, like Andy said, there's multiple people who are getting into growing maybe for the first time, and a lot of people just plain don't know their rights. So you sort of expect the person in authority to be telling you what your rights are, but exactly like you said, they're not trained that way. They're not. The cops aren't going to tell you your rights. They're going to try and sort of weasel every possible angle. So I've just
and they will lie.
Yeah, they will, 100%. That you're trained to catch hard criminals.
Unfortunately, we're in their eyes, we meth dealers. Honestly, it feels like in their eyes, we might as well be cooking fucking meth and selling it on the streets. Like they're not going to raid us like it's a cafe or something. They're going to treat it just like they're raiding a crack den or a tuk den. They're going to come in hot. They're going to make sure they're going to bring in all the intimidation tactics. They're not going to go home empty-handed.
No.
We have
and I mean, just part of the
on the Instagram, Knuckle Genetics says here, everyone must understand that the cannabis trades are run by a specific team controlled by a certain cop, and all your stock is resold. Enough is enough. So obviously other people have experienced similar things. I know there's a lot of passionate people in the industry. So yeah, sorry, just to say reading.
Yeah, and I mean, after the Neisner Herald wrote an article on the unlawful raid,
Andy, do you want to bring it up quickly?
It was brought to light that so many growers in the garden routes had gone through the exact same thing. So they're targeting us, they're targeting the oil makers, and they are going in. And there was word about this drug squad being a rogue drug squad, because they were out of their jurisdiction as well. I mean, I was in between Plet and Neisner. They were from George, so legally they weren't even allowed to. That wasn't their jurisdiction. So it's important to actually question your officers and figure out where they're from.
And what I wanted to say now is probably in the community, not everyone knows everyone. It's generally been relatively secretive. So sort of by bringing up your story and talking about it, more give other people the strength to come forwards as well. And I mean, people are being treated unfairly and probably just sort of, want to move past it. It's traumatic. They want to get it out of their lives. They don't want to talk about it again, move past it. But that's not the right thing to do. We need to all come together and speak about these experiences, so that everyone can know there are resources and there is a community that's willing to support you as well.
Yeah, I unfortunately after that I won't leave my front door open for more than 2 minutes. If it's open, I'm constantly thinking, oh shit, they could just walk in now. If they wanted to come now, they could just walk in. And like those kind of things, it's it sits with me. It's changed the way I operate my daily thing. Sorry, Dean, do you mind sharing, letting me have host access or allowing screen shares? Just so we can pull up this article while you have a look at that. But yeah, there was another one. Sorry, Iris?
No, carry on.
This also reminds me of this harrowing harrowing story we read about late last year about an unlawful arrest in Stellenbosch, and absolutely terrible, like disgusting the way they were treating this person. Oh, how much is your dishwasher worth? How much is this? Or, you know, oh, this is a nice TV. This is a nice bed. Like, oh, what do you, you know, where'd you get your money? Are you gay? Are you straight? And they're asking these heavily personal questions. Yeah, and it's,
I mean,
it's horrible.
I tried to bring out my video camera with when this raid was going on, so I could actually video and tape the fucking absolute mess, the disrespect that went on in this house. And I was raging. I said to them, you know, you actually cannot do this. You're coming into my house, you're disrespecting me. And, you know, they kept on outside. They were laughing at me. They were like, oh, you know, are you scared? And I was like, well, obviously I'm fucking scared. Like, I can't see what's going on. There's 20 odd flashlights pointing in my face, you know. Terrible. So yeah, it's really just shocking.
Yeah, so anyway, I mean, you quoted, you know, you're giving an exact account, is exactly here. And I mean, the main point of this article is the cop at the end here says he's basically was entitled to barge through your door, and that's completely untrue. So I mean, it's just a terrible and illegal experience all over. This isn't the main reason why we went through this, and it put you on a mad quest to find the correct information and to find. You said you understood your rights, and you obviously remembered to ask for the warrant. But it's you know, if you don't fully know your rights, doubt's gonna creep in, and you know. So you've gone out and you've contacted the Fields of Green. I believe you chatted to Charles. We've actually had him on our show before. So yeah, we've also we know Charles personally, and he sent you some. He obviously took you through all of the information that they provide, and he sent the police directive and I think the arrest directive. The arrest circular through to you to have a look at. So do you want to, Andy, bring up the first one, which is the
do the police directive.
Yeah, sorry, I was just reading a couple of paragraphs of this article again, and it's absolutely disgusting. Talking about how they're allowed to come in without a warrant. They can allow. It's not like they heard gunshots coming off your property. Christ, they
broke the lock, dude. They broke the lock to the gate of the property.
Unbelievable.
They're not allowed to do that.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. So just to give a little bit of context to the viewers, I've recently made a big move from Cape Town during lockdown to garden routes, and it was a major concern for me traveling with all my ganja that I had just harvested. So I got in contact with the Fields of Green for All. They have a hotline on their website. I highly recommend to everyone you use it. Within 5 minutes, Charles phoned me back. I explained to him what my issue was, and he sent me like a group SMS with a whole bunch of documents that I downloaded for my trip. And I was advised to pack my dacha in an open, you know, not to hide it away, to pack it all into one bag, have these documents printed and professionally presented. And on the box of my stock, I had written, had a piece of paper printed out that said, "This is not for sale. This is for my personal and private use in private."
Yeah.
So that's one of that's kind of one thing that you need to do when driving. But I'm really stoked to go through these documents with you guys. There's a few pertinent points that I just want to bring up. But again, to stress the importance of exercising your rights. And if you guys have these documents when you are transporting or at home, if anyone comes into you illegally, you have these, and it states in these documents that police officers will be persecuted in a serious manner if they do not comply with this law.
Yeah. No, it's important because the cops will come there and there's a chance they genuinely don't know this, and you can actually be like, "Hey, look, buddy, here it is in writing."
Yeah. So I suggest to everyone they print it out. It's quite a bit of documents. It'll cost you a little bit of money, but it's worth it. And also to just go through the police directive and actually highlight on the sides the important points. So if you are to get arrested, you know, you can bring these up, because I guarantee you they're going to think twice about arresting you, because you know your rights so well.
If you're coming across professional and with professional documentation that comes from someone who's legitimate in the field, you'll feel way more confident in standing up for your own rights over not having any information in hand. You know, have it at hand over. It probably won't happen if you're careful. You know, it probably won't happen, but it could. And when it does, you want to be ready.
I mean, it made me feel so confident with driving 7 hours with my weed. I didn't feel like a criminal, whereas a day before I was stressed out. I was already paranoid, thinking, what am I going to do if my weed gets confiscated? What's the plan? What are my rights? I reached out to so many friends that are big in the game, that no one knows this information. So yeah, I think thank you for your platform, guys. Let's get these documents out.
Okay, and do you want to bring them up? The first one.
Yeah. The directive. Or the
looks like we're going to have technical difficulties in 4 minutes and 20 seconds. So
oh my God.
We might just have to just have a quick little. It won't affect the YouTube, but it will affect the Instagram. Okay, bring up the first document, Andy.
Okay, this is the directive. It is up.
I'm not seeing it. I'm seeing the.
I'm seeing the raid.
The RAID document currently. I mean the RAID article.
Oh geez. Okay. I had it. It's been up for ages. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, there it is.
Oh, can you go down to just scroll down to page 10 for me?
Yes.
Cool. Yeah. Point 6, page 10. I'm just going to read you guys a few really important points. I mean, obviously, go through these documents at home by yourself, but yeah, point 6, it says the effect of judgments. An adult person may use or possess cannabis in private for his or her personal consumption. There's a lot of gray areas in that. Private is your own vehicle, your own land, and it kind of like goes on to that. 6.4, if you scroll down a little bit for me, says the cultivation is also for a private place for his or her personal consumption. 6.6 is the judgment does not confine the permitted use or possession or cultivation of cannabis to a home or a private dwelling.
That's important, guys.
That's very important.
Because what is private? Private would be within your own motor vehicle. It's your private space. You own that space. You know.
Even someone else's car at houses. If you're there, if you're house sitting, it doesn't mean it doesn't have to be your house. It's a private place. I think they define private.
That's how the private club is able to operate because of these legislations. And I mean
the law's written very, very specifically. You can see it it's constantly using the words private place for personal consumption in private. Okay, 6.8, it says the court did not prescribe the quantity of cannabis that will qualify as personal consumption. And then it later on discusses that police will then need to use their own discernment whether to arrest someone.
This is the worst thing that they've done to date, was leaving that undefined. It's either all or either none, but it's left it in the power of the average Joe doing the raid to make the assessment. And I'm sorry, but you might as well have not done the whole thing.
Yeah, because it's like how can they tell us how much we're growing, how much we're smoking, what can the average person smoke? It's a complete gray area, which does.
And I mean, if you're taking it down to oil, or if you're making rosin or hash, you're taking a kilogram and you're turning it into 100 grams. You're turning it into 60 grams, which you could consume essentially if you're consuming a lot very quickly. Up to a gram a day, depending on what you're using it for.
How can they say? The greater the the larger the quantity, the greater the possibility that it's not for personal.
Yeah. Go down to 7.1 there.
It's 7.1. Here we go.
Yeah. Okay. 7 points. It says here, 7.2. In exercising the mentioned discretion, a police official will rely on his or her own observation of the circumstances as well as the surrounding facts. So it's like, again, completely giving them the power, to be like, is this for personal use? It's complete bullshit.
Police officials. Oh, we hit that technical difficulty, guys. While you hang in on there for a second while we get Iris back.
So welcome back, Iris. Sorry about that little bit of technical difficulties on my behalf. I didn't realize we'd been on for so long before. So we've got about 6 more minutes to go. So,
I think Iris, do you want to show us
I think we made the main point about that, that there is proper information where you can read. It's not difficult to read. It's very simple. It's on there, it's not in complicated terms. You can read for yourself and see exactly what it is. And once again, it is provided by someone, the Fields of Green, who is a non-profit organization in the space. You can find them, thefieldsofgreen.org.za, if I'm not mistaken. And they have a monthly, you can sign up for a monthly subscribership. It's 50 Rand a month if you are passionate about cannabis and want to do something to promote to promote a fair legalization and to promote people who have been working for a majority of their sort of careers to really make a difference in this country, and they're directly responsible for us allowing to operate Marijuana SA, to Iris to drive from Cape Town to George and not feel like a criminal, because we're consuming for personal consumption as we are allowed now. So a big thank you to the Fields of Green for all the hard work that they've done. Marijuana SA fully approves of them. Iris obviously has had a personal experience dealing with them, and it just shows the hard work that they're doing.
It was so professional. They got back within a few minutes to me, and honestly, Charles checked up on me the whole drive. He made sure that I got there safe. He gave me a lawyer's number. So do the research, guys. Educate yourselves. Honestly, it's time to now step into your own power and find these documents. Go online, source them, download them, use them.
No one can help you but yourself, but there is the information out there, and it just makes no sense not to have all of the possible tools at your disposal. If you're passionate about cannabis and you want to cultivate for yourself, and you're worried about is it too much, so you're growing for personal consumption and you're empowered, you shouldn't have anything to worry about.
100% agree.
Exactly.
So Iris, and on a little bit of a lighter note, if anyone's interested to maybe get hold of you and to chat about your experience, or would like to ask a few questions, where can we find you?
You guys can find me on Instagram. My Instagram handle is @mysticmuse_Iris Moon. So that's
Awesome.
mysticmuse_Iris Moon. I'm sure you guys will tag.
We'll put it in the YouTube description as well, if anyone wants to make contact. And I'm just so thankful to have you come on the show and to share your story with us. It's a brave thing to do. Obviously it was a very traumatic experience. I could see that when we were chatting about it. And no one wants to go through it, and everyone would just want to most people would push it under the carpet and move on. But talking about it and empowering people to go and find the information is exactly what we need to be doing, especially at this time now where we're going through a sort of transitional change
Guys, can we just have a moment of how epic this is, that police are fucking arresting guys for booze and cigarettes, and us weed smokers are also kind of just sitting back during this time being like, is this actually real? Like, we're living in this time. We've been marching for the rights of Dacha for years.
Exactly. And we've all gone through a massive outdoor grow season where we were all happy to grow loads outdoors. We're sitting on these huge stashes, and now no one else can get their booze.
I think Fields of Green might have to pivot into like seas of brown or whatever. Stay afloat.
On that note, I think it's a good time to say goodbye. Thank you for for everyone for joining our show. Thank you especially to Iris for sharing her experience and for coming to us and using our platform to share her story. We're really thankful for that. And also to everyone who keeps watching. If you did enjoy, like you said, like and subscribe. It helps keep the dream going. And till next time, everyone. Thanks for watching.
Thanks so much, guys.
Peace and love.